let me ask you this question. The Dow Jones had suffered its worst first quarter in history following the longest bull market ever. Does this factor into the strategic planning that you have ahead now for your company?
So that's an interesting question. And today and yesterday, I think we're already up 2,200 points. So
Oh,
one thing we can be certain of, the only thing I can be certain of with the Dow is that it's volatile. So if you're a trader and you know how to play volatility, you're making a lot of money. I don't. There's not this crazy direct correlation there used to be between our business and Wall Street. If you remember, for so many years, every October, November, Howard and I would get the call. So bonuses are down this year. What's it going to do to the market? Bonuses are up this year. What's it going to do to the market? We're not really hearing that anymore. I think there's so many more factors in play where the market really does impact people in, directly to real estate has their portfolio been, destroyed where they can't come and pull out a down payment. If you're buying in a co-op that requires high cash, what does that mean? If you're in contract and you need to close and you haven't liquidated yet, do you lose more by liquidating than by leaving your 10% on the table? So there's a lot of questions that go along with it, but I don't feel as the stock market goes, as real estate goes. There's way too many other factors at play, if that answers your question.
yeah, absolutely.
I agree, Pam. I mean, the fact is, probably the last few years is the best example of the real estate not following the stock market. The stock market had record highs, and the real estate was sort of flat and then going down. So people didn't follow it. But on the other hand, when the market goes down, what I find is that people, and I know I'm this way also, you don't feel like spending money. It has nothing to do with real estate. If you're watching the market going down every day and you're hearing about it on television and so forth, are you really in the mood to spend money? Probably not for most people. But the one advantage to real estate, which I've been a proponent of and talking about for a few years, is that real estate is a great asset to own. And I call it a comfortable asset. And the answer why is that you can't price it every second. With our iPhones now, every time you want to know how much you're losing in the stock market, you just look at your iPhone and you say, oh my God, I just lost 50,000, 100,000, whatever. You have no idea how much your house has gone up or down in any particular moment or any particular day. And that makes it a less volatile asset to people. And it's harder to make a mistake by selling at the bottom, which we all tend to do when we get panicked out, and then buying at the top. So I think that it's a great asset to own, they can be comfortable in and live in and enjoy. And I think that's one of the reasons it's not so correlated to the market anymore, to the ups and downs of the stock market.
Jamie, I just want to add one thing onto that. The low interest rates will be great. They will really spur buying, in my opinion. Okay. And especially on the low end, we've seen that in the past. I'm thinking a lot of people are going to turn around and buy for my kids. I told my kids, now's the time to look at real estate. I'm a big believer. I bought my own house in October 1st, 2001. So I think crisis creates opportunities. But what does concern me way more than the stock market is the environment in New York City. So the country, as Howard just said, is spending trillions of dollars, likely COVID-4, spend trillions more. So at some point, this money has to come back. We can't mortgage the future of the next generations. So the taxes are likely to go up. So my concern becomes New York City has been setting itself up in some ways as very unfriendly to high-end buyers and foreign buyers and investors. This talk of the pied-à-terre tax, et cetera. That's what makes me far more nervous than the stock market. Because if New York City has these huge budget deficits, as does the state, are they going to look to real estate to make that up? Are they going to raise real estate taxes? Are they going to put in additional real estate taxes? How friendly is New York State going to be to our recovery? That is a bigger concern of mine. And that's where we all rally around each other and fight the good fight.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Following up on what both of you were saying, what would you say to, friends or colleagues or people that that are those people that sell when the market's down? what would you say? Do you have a time frame when this is all over? Do they jump in and just sell, or would you say sit back, wait, and let things shake out a little bit?
I think what you're going to have is a lot of buyers that think that even though the prices were down pre-crisis 15%, 20%, 10%, whatever, they're going to want another 10 or 15 or 20% off. And that's probably not going to happen. So there'll be a little standstill for a while. And then ultimately deals will start getting done again. I think it would be really unrealistic to think that the prices are going to go down another 15 or 20% after post-crisis. Pam, how do you feel about that?
So we had this discussion yesterday with our head of research, and the conclusion, and we don't know if we're right or not, but what we're feeling is that the prices, as you said, were already depressed. They'd already gone down. So it's not like they're going to take another huge leap down. This might actually help us because prices had already gone down. And yesterday I was trying to help one of my agents. He was bidding on something, a new development, and had been $7 million. It was repriced at 6.5. His buyer's trying to get it at 5.2. And the developer's saying that's not going to happen. You know, this has already been priced in, maybe a little bit more, but it's too soon to tell because there haven't been enough trades as to how much pricing may have come down. But we're not seeing it yet. We're really not. But I do think you'll see it more on the higher end because we already had a glut there. So, you know, let's see what happens. We have to, you know, see where the trades happen. But one thing I learned a long time ago is you can't sharpshoot the market. You can never know exactly when the bottom is because you only know it when it starts going up, and you don't know the top until it starts going down. So hindsight's 20/20. Make your decision based on your own needs, not on trying to sharpshoot the market.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, we all know that everyone is kind of like looking for what's the next thing I'm going to do. We've seen it before. Some of the greatest success stories were born out of recessions. You know, think IBM, General Electric, Disney. Any thoughts on companies or industries that may thrive post-pandemic? Pam, anything?
So I've thought about this one a lot for a lot of different reasons. So you look what's thriving now, right? Of course, Zoom, you know, WebEx, cybersecurity firms, right? Look at these hacks on Zoom. I mean, it's crazy what's happened. So I think cybersecurity becomes more important as people are working more remotely. I think online shopping, not just Amazon, but are people, you know, liking the fact that they don't have to go to the grocery store? Maybe these delivery services. What about people that weren't used to cooking and now they realize they like to cook? Those prepackaged meal companies are interesting, like the Blue Aprons, or people who like to buy Sakara for their health. A thing that's always been I've been a big fan of, I've done it for years because I don't always love going to the gym, is I do a lot of home workouts. I was a huge Beachbody devotee, and now there's so many online workouts, and now I've become addicted to Isaac Boots. And I realize there's so many of my friends who are doing it, and I've turned so many people onto it. Guys, every day at 11 o'clock, you do this live great workout, and then on his Instagram story, it repeats. So I think at-home workouts, what's it called, the Mirror and Tonal, I think those have good futures. And then video games. My nephew, he will not get off his stupid video games, and so that's interesting. And then someone just told me about Netflix Party. Obviously, all the streaming services, but I didn't know what Netflix Party was, so I have to dig into that. But something where you can watch movies and comment and chat with your friends while you're watching the same movie. So I mean, those are just some things. It's sort of fun to just sit there and kind of figure out what's going to happen.
Oh, it's so funny that you say that. My 16-year-old, her and her friends had a party on Friday night for like 3 hours. They all got dressed, they put on their makeup, and they all went onto a Zoom group so that they could have a party together. So
Yeah.
yes.
I'm looking forward to, my family wants to have a online Passover Seder. So we're working on that.
Very
It's
nice.
going to be very popular.
Yes, yes, I'm sure. So Howard, here's a question for you. You know, you even said it as we started this afternoon as to people having short memories of bad events. I've heard you say that before, and I don't disagree with you. You know, but what I have seen is that recent studies, I was doing some research on this the other day, said that about almost half of the people surveyed will no longer want to go to theaters or sporting events. And I'm just curious, do you think that your theory of people having short memories for bad events will hold true here?
Look, I said it before. I said you really don't know because this is so much different than anything else we've experienced. But I would be in that category that if you asked me today, would I want to go to these big events? The answer is no. Am I sure that that's not going to change 6 months later, a year later, or 2 years later? No, I'm not sure. Because the fact is, it was a big part of a lot of people's lives. And I can't even imagine like not going to certain events that I go to all the time. So it's going to be very challenging. It's going to be good business for the psychiatrists and the therapists, I'm sure, to figure out, how your behavior is going to change. And do you really want it to change? Because I don't think most people want it to change. They just are afraid. We're scared. Okay, we're afraid. What's going to happen if we start going back to our old habits? Is this disease or another one going to happen next? And then we're also afraid because we really don't know how this really happened, with all the talk of where it came from, and everyone has their own idea. Was it biological warfare? Espionage? Was it the bats? I don't know. Now, I don't think anyone knows. But when you don't know, it leaves your mind wandering to lots of things that you're just sort of afraid. And we're all afraid of the unknown. But again, you have to remember Roosevelt's quote: "The worst thing, fear, very bad, that fear. The only thing to fear is fear itself. So we're going to have to figure out a way not to have that fear deeply ingrained in the way we operate going forward."
Do you have fear about trying to sell all those Knicks tickets now?
Yeah, I've thought about it, so I'm going to. I don't know what I'm going to. Look, I know I'm not going to give up my Knicks tickets. Okay, so I'm already said I can't do it because my bigger fear is after all these years that I give them up and they end up being a great team and they win a championship and I don't have my ticket. So that fear is going to outride the other fear.
And I'm keeping my Yankee tickets.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not giving them up. I'm not giving them up. Am I going to be thrilled right away to go and sit with a bunch of people, whatever? That's the problem. That's really the issue.
Is that why you offered me the tickets to the first game?
I don't know if I will or I won't. Right now, it sounds difficult for me to be able to do it.
Pam, along those same lines, I know that you've always been a really gracious host. You like to entertain at your house and have your friends over. I'm the same way. How do you feel that COVID will impact your entertaining in the months and years and seasons ahead?
Well, I'm lucky my husband lets me in the house right now. He's so strict with everything. I mean, I'm not even kidding. So I think some people take a much stricter view. Michael was 2 months ago, or he was the first one to say to me, "Stop going out. I've stocked our house. I've done everything." And I was sort of like, "Oh, really? Do you think you're overreacting?" And of course, everyone's texting me, "Michael was right. Michael was right." So I don't think I'll be doing much entertaining if he's around, which he will be. So I think that, much like Howard said, it's sort of going to be adaptive. We're going to see what really means something and what doesn't mean as much. However, once we figure out a way, like I said earlier, once you have the vaccine or you have a cure, hopefully a vaccine, I think people go right back to what they were doing. I'm very curious to see what happens this summer. It's going to be interesting, and I feel terrible for these restaurants. And you really want to support people now, but if we allow this to totally destroy life as we knew it, I mean, it's going to be a very, very sad day. So hopefully, we have this little blip, and we all sort of go back slowly, but we do go back. I couldn't imagine life in quarantine for an extended period of time. We're too social. The world is social.
Absolutely. And so is the real estate world. I look forward to getting back to being able to socialize again. So just a couple more questions for both of you. For each of you, what have you found to be the silver lining in all of this? Has there personally been anything that you could pinpoint as to what came out of this that was really positive for you?
For me personally, where I am up in Upper Westchester, I'm on a 60-acre piece of mountains and trees and hills, and I go hiking every day. That's my one activity, hard to do in the city and, most places. So it gives me a lot of time to think. And I'd say the positive things that have come out is all the support from our agents and our employees, knowing the situation we're in, and knowing that we all have to make cuts, which is not a fun thing to do. Pam has gone through it, I'm sure she'll tell you the stories also. But I must say that whatever we've done, I've gotten many more emails or texts or phone calls about saying that they, appreciate, they understand. There really was no bitterness, even from the people that had to be cut. And so that support, was very strong. I'm not saying everyone was we got a couple that were like, something's wrong with you. Why'd you do that? But okay. So you're always going to get a couple of people. But that's been very supportive and made myself feel, I'm sure Pam will say the same, feel good about what we've all tried to build over the last number of years.
I would say as an industry, almost everybody has really come together and supported each other in what we've had to do. As a company, I love the way my agents have come together. They're so supportive of each other. As many of you know, we lost an agent last week, a lovely guy, and the outpouring of emotional support was just incredible. I personally have been speaking to agents every day, and I'm just so proud of my agents and how they have taken care of each other, what we've done with Corcoran Cares. I mean, we've donated, we teamed up with someone, we donated a ventilator to Southampton Hospital. We had a new fundraising drive. We've donated masks. We made a big donation to Brooklyn Hospital. We have another meeting today to figure out where to do more. But the way people, I hold regular phone calls. There's over 1,000 people on them. We're doing all this online learning, the support when we ask agents to be on these panels, the amount of people that come out, it really does. We always talk about us being a family, but it really does make us feel like a family. And just the way people treat each other and the way the industry has treated each other. Howard and I have been on the phone a bunch of times, as I have been with almost all the other firms, as we talked about the essential business versus the non-essential business. So almost every company has really worked together. I could say there's only one company out there that tries to use this opportunity to knock other companies. And it's just not something that the class of this industry is doing right now. We have really, really all pulled together. And, I'm grateful for my peers at the other firms and how we've all worked together. So I'm just sort of proud of the industry as a whole.
Yeah, I think it's pretty incredible. Both of you were just so open and welcoming to, setting this up so that we can bring you both as great thought leaders in the industry and share your viewpoints on what's been going on. And there's just been so much support, and it's been really wonderful, and it's been great. And I'm so thankful to have been able to speak with both of you today, and I'm sure that the audience has been as well. So thank you so very much. It's really been incredible hearing your viewpoints, and I'm sure that everybody learns a lot from this, and hopefully we can do this again during better times. And thank you so much, and just be safe, everyone out there, and stay home, right?
Yep.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie, and be safe, Pam, Jamie, be safe.
Any last words or inspiration or anything to just leave the audience with?
We've become a closer family for most of us, most of our firms, and it's actually nice because the business got to be antagonistic at some points, whatever, including myself. So I plead guilty, and it's much nicer not to feel that way, And the way I feel now is completely different than the way I felt before. In general, about your competitors and so forth, absent maybe one.
That's very nice.
So thank you, Pam.
Thank you both. You're both just really incredible and such an inspiration to myself and everybody here listening. So we just thank you so much, and thanks for joining and giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks,
Okay.
Jamie.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you, everybody.
All
Have a
right.
great day.
Bye.